Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are strapping in for a massive dive. We're looking at the cutting edge of AI for real software development.
That's right. We're digging into Anthropic's Claude Sonnet 4.5.
Exactly. And this isn't just about chatting, right?
Yeah.
This is about the nitty-gritty, writing code, testing it, shipping it inside actual complex repositories.
Yeah, the production environment.
So our mission today is really to slice through the hype, the benchmark scores, and get to the core of it.
What does it actually mean for developers?
Right. What's the practical difference this makes in, say, your daily coding workflow? Is this really the new gold standard for an AI assistant?
And just to set expectations right away, this isn't just about speed on, like simple tasks. The sources keep stressing this idea of reliable delivery over long horizons.
Long horizons, stamina, persistence.
Exactly. It's less about the quick burst, more about endurance. And Sonnet 4.5 is behind a big upgrade to Claude Code, but maybe more importantly, it launches the Claude Agent SDK.
The SDK. We'll definitely need to unpack that.
That's the toolkit for building serious agents internally. It's foundational.
Okay, but first, that headline claim definitely got my attention. State-of-the-art on SWE-bench verified.
Yep.
We need to explain SWE-bench, though. It sounds kind of technical, maybe intimidating. It's not just a coding puzzle, is it?
No, not at all. Think of it as the ultimate test drive. It checks if the AI can do the whole software engineering job end-to-end in real open-source projects.
The messy parts.
Exactly, the messy parts.
So like reading a bug ticket, understanding the whole code base context,
Setting up the right test environment,
writing the actual code fix,
running the tests, making sure it worked.
and then, crucially, landing the patch without, breaking everything else.
Precisely. It's the full software development lifecycle, basically.
It's moving from being a fancy autocomplete to, well, maybe like a junior or even mid-level engineer function.
That's the idea. And the fact that Sonnet 4.5 leads here, hitting 77.2% according to the sources, that's why people are calling it a pretty big step.
Okay, that makes sense. So the numbers are impressive, but you mentioned the developer experience, the feel of it.
Right, because that's what you actually notice day to day. And the key thing you'll feel, apparently, is stamina. They ran these long tests.
Yeah.
And the system stayed reliably on task for over 30 hours straight in some runs.
30 hours. Wait, seriously. How? How does it not just spiral out of control if it hits a problem early on? Usually the context window dies, right? It starts repeating itself or forgets what it did first.
Well, that's where this new agentic workflow comes in. The sources call it an over-shoulder sprint workflow.
Okay. What's that like?
So you give the agent a feature ticket. It doesn't just vanish for 30 hours. It sets up the branch, writes tests first, which is interesting.
Test-driven development, basically.
Yeah, and then it reports back to you at logical checkpoints.
So you're still in the loop. You're not just waiting and hoping. You see the code diffs at these points.
Exactly. You review the diffs, you approve things, or maybe you say, no, that's going the wrong way, and you redirect it.
Gotcha. So Sonnet 4.5 is built for that kind of iterative, long-term teamwork. That's how it keeps context over hours.
That seems to be the core design philosophy. And what's really interesting is how the stamina connects to other things. Like it also leads on OSWorld.
OSWorld. Okay, need a definition there. What does doing well on OSWorld actually mean for a team?
Right, so OSWorld simulates using a computer like a person does, going way beyond just coding in a terminal.
Okay, like using apps?
Yeah. Think about filing a bug in Jira through the web interface, or analyzing data in a spreadsheet, or clicking through a cloud provider's console to set something up.
Okay. So it's about interacting with the broader digital environment, not just the code.
Precisely. That long horizon stamina plus this ability to use different tools. That's what potentially shifts these things from cool demos to actual practical helpers.
Right. This brings us to the big comparison then. How does Sonnet 4.5 stack up against, well, the main rival, GPT-5 Codex?
The million-dollar question for platform teams choosing their tools.
Exactly. Which AI do you hire for which kind of job?
And it really seems to boil down to the style of work you need and maybe the speed. The sources paint a pretty clear picture here.
Okay.
Claude Sonnet 4.5 seems optimized for that quick collaborative loop we just talked about. Faster iterations, really good at using various tools, kind of like a strong daily driver for developers.
Daily driver. I like that. Good for banging out features, rapid prototyping?
Yeah, and those complex agent tasks where it needs to juggle lots of different tools or APIs.
Okay, so that's Sonnet 4.5.
Yeah.
Fast, collaborative, tool savvy. What about the comparison to GPT-5 Codex as the slow, senior engineer. Does that still hold?
It seems to, yeah. GPT-5 Codex, while obviously very powerful, is often the choice for teams doing really big refactoring jobs or needing super comprehensive system-wide test coverage.
So deeper dives.
Exactly. It digs deeper, seems to generate more exhaustive changes, but
Yeah.
it can be slower. You get that senior engineer vibe. Very thorough, very thoughtful, but you might be waiting a bit for that first big code review.
Makes sense. And then there's the cost factor, which is pretty huge here. Anthropic kept the pricing the same, right? $3 for input, $15 for output per million tokens.
Correct. And that's really important, especially if you're imagining these 30-hour workflows running routinely.
It totally changes the value proposition.
Absolutely. You've got Sonnet 4.5, now apparently beating older flagship models on benchmarks, but priced like a mid-tier model.
So running these agents across a whole team suddenly looks a lot more affordable.
Much more viable, yeah. It makes scaling feasible much sooner.
Okay, so the verdict isn't just one is better. It's pick Sonnet 4.5 for, let's say, speed with skill, that daily collaboration.
Right, the responsive loop.
But maybe keep GPT-5 Codex available for when you need that really deep, exhaustive rewrite and you have the time budget for it.
Yeah, route the work based on the need. Seems like the smart play.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Talk about the engine under the hood. All this performance relies on solid infrastructure. You mentioned the Claude Agent SDK earlier.
Yes, the SDK. The sources call it the skeleton, or the plumbing behind Claude Code.
The glue holding it together for those long, complex jobs.
Exactly. This is what makes it a product, not just a cool model. It tackles the really hard problems you hit immediately when you try to build agents. First one, structured memory.
Right, we talked about context window collapse before.
Yeah.
How does structured memory fix that? Is it just a bigger window?
Not quite. It's smarter. It gives the agent context editing and scoped recall.
Being
Instead of just stuffing everything it ever saw into one massive prompt, which gets slow and expensive, the SDK lets the agent pull back specific relevant decisions or facts from hours ago, like which library did we decide not to use, or what was the first test that failed, without rereading everything.
so it maintains the thread of the task intelligently.
Precisely, across hours of work.
That's huge. If it avoids that prompt fatigue, you can give it much bigger, longer tasks. Okay, what's next? Safety must be a big one for companies.
Absolutely critical. That's the second pillar. Safety and control. You need guardrails for production use.
Can't have agents running wild.
No. So the SDK builds in these clear permission gates. It requires explicit human approval for sensitive stuff.
Like what? Writing files to production servers?
Yeah, or running potentially destructive scripts, making API calls that cost money, things like that. Keeps the human firmly in the loop for critical actions.
Okay, that makes sense. Keeps everyone comfortable. The third piece was orchestration. What does that do?
Think of complex tasks that need multiple steps or specialties. Maybe you need to update a database schema and the corresponding API endpoints and the documentation.
Okay.
Orchestration lets you potentially spin up subagents, each focused on one part of that job. The orchestrator coordinates them, makes sure they merge their work correctly at checkpoints, avoids conflicts, division of labor for the AI.
Like a little project manager for the subagents?
Kind of, yeah, for complex workflows.
And speaking of checkpoints, you mentioned those earlier. The sources said that was the most requested feature.
Apparently so. And you can see why, right? We've all been there running some huge process, hours in, and it just goes completely off the rails.
Oh yeah, the fear.
Being able to instantly save the state and roll back if things get weird, that's massive. It takes a lot of the risk out of attempting those long, complex automations.
Definitely lowers the blood pressure. They also mentioned a native VS Code extension.
Yep, bringing it right into the developer's main workspace reduces friction.
Makes sense. And API improvements too. Context editing and memory support directly in the API.
Yes, which is great for teams building their own tools on top. It means less custom glue code needed just to keep the model focused on multi-hour jobs like, say, data migrations or generating extensive documentation.
Less scaffolding, faster results.
Exactly. And they have that research preview, Imagine with Claude for Mac subscribers, showing off real-time software generation. It gives a glimpse of where it's heading.
Okay, let's pivot slightly to trust and alignment. Non-negotiable for enterprise use. What's changed there?
Anthropic is emphasizing this is their most aligned model yet. It's shipping under what they call AI Safety Level 3, or ASL3 protections.
ASL3.
Yeah.
What does that mean practically for, like, a security review.
It's not just marketing fluff. It means it's past specific, rigorous internal and likely external audits against misuse, dangerous emergent capabilities, things like that. They're reporting big drops in issues like sycophancy, just agreeing too much deception, power-seeking behaviors.
And better defenses against prompt injection attacks.
Stronger defenses, yes, which is crucial.
So tighter guardrails overall makes getting it approved internally potentially easier.
That's the goal. And another key point is data recency. The training data goes up to July 2025.
That is recent. Why is that so important?
Well, for coding, it means the model understands newer frameworks, libraries, APIs, maybe even recent security vulnerabilities and how to handle them. It's not working off outdated information from years ago.
Good point. Less likely to suggest using a deprecated library or an insecure practice.
Hopefully, yes.
Okay, before we get to the practical takeaways, let's just quickly run through some other benchmark results, because it sounds like this isn't just a coding improvement.
No, it seems more general. We mentioned SWE-bench for coding at 77.2%, but computer use, that OSWorld benchmark, jumped significantly to 61.4%.
Okay.
But the one that really stands out is high school math AIM 2025 problems. Using Python, it got a perfect 100%.
A perfect score. On challenging math problems, what does that signal beyond, being good at math?
It suggests really strong symbolic reasoning capabilities.
Right.
Which isn't just for math. That kind of logical power is essential for understanding complex code dependencies, figuring out tricky state management issues, grasping subtle logic flows in big applications.
So it hints at a deeper level of understanding.
A deeper intellectual capacity, yeah. And it's showing up in specialized areas too, like financial analysis tasks hitting over 55%, suggests it can tackle complex, domain-specific agent work pretty well.
Okay, so it's powerful, it's got better tools via the SDK, it's safer. How does someone listening put this into action, like this week? Concrete steps.
Right, let's break it down.
For individual developers working in their editor.
The sources suggest install that VS Code extension. Point it at a code base you know well. Start small, maybe a simple feature or bug fix. Try the new workflow. Write tests first, let the model generate the code. And use those checkpoints before doing anything potentially risky. Leverage Sonnet 4.5 speed for that iterative work.
Makes sense. Start small, use the safety features.
Yeah.
What about platform teams, the ones building internal tools, maybe using the API?
For them, it's about engaging with that new SDK infrastructure. Wrap the model using the memory tool and context editing APIs that's key for managing long tasks effectively. And critically, implement those safety gates. Require human approval for sensitive actions. Don't just let it run free on production systems on day one.
Start safe. Maybe build something like a complex document generator first, or a helper for data migrations.
Exactly. Start with lower risk, high value tasks. Prove its reliability over those multi-hour runs, then scale up.
And for team leads or managers rolling this out more broadly?
Clear goals and metrics are vital. Track things that actually measure impact. How much faster are pull requests getting merged? Is test coverage improving? Are we seeing fewer rollbacks after deployments?
Things you can actually measure.
Right. And define clear guardrails that fit your company's risk tolerance. Create a simple playbook. This is how we use Claude Code here. Standardization really helps adoption.
Got it. Clear goals, measure impact, set expectations.
So if we pull it all together, Claude Sonnet 4.5 feels like a really practical step forward. It's the combination, the better tool use, the much longer focus, the solid SDK scaffolding that seems to turn flashy demos into potentially reliable week-long work partners.
Yeah, and the competition with GPT-5 codecs pushing both sides seems healthy for developers overall.
Definitely benefits the roadmap.
So the practical takeaway seems pretty clear. Use Claude Sonnet 4.5 for that daily grind, the sprint tasks where you need speed and responsiveness.
Your go-to daily driver.
Right. Keep GPT-5 codecs maybe for those big, heavy refactoring projects where deep analysis outweighs the need for speed.
And measure the difference. Track merge times, track rollbacks, see the ROI for yourself.
Excellent. Okay, final provocative thought for our listeners to chew on.
All right, here's one. Given the power, the stamina, and especially the safety structure of this new Claude Agent SDK, what's that one complex, tedious, multi-hour task your team absolutely hates doing right now?
Oh, every team has one of those.
Exactly. The mind-numbing dependency updates, the deep data scrubbing, the repetitive maintenance chores. Could you now build a specialized internal agent using this SDK to just take that task over entirely? The framework seems ready. The next step is applying it with focus and polish to solve your team's biggest headache.